Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Classic Restos. Of course, not possible without the continued support of my longest standing major sponsor, Shannons Insurance. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call on 134646 for a quote. In fact, Shannons Insurance can offer you a 10% multi-policy discount if you add your home insurance to your current car or bike insurance. Now, only a company full of enthusiasts would come up with cover such as that. You can look at Shannons online at shannons.com.au, and while you're there, you'll see a whole array of ways as to how they can help you, and you can also sign up and become a member of the Shannons Club. There is no doubt about it. If you own a classic just like this, it has to be with Shannons Insurance. And on today's show, as a part of my 6-week stay here in Pennsylvania, United States of America, covering some of the world's largest car shows, I proudly bring you the 2013 Carlisle All GM Nationals. You know, when it comes to car shows, Carlisle Events has it all. There are many events each year catering to your particular likings. The events are spread out, easy to access, ground staff are friendly, and when it comes to vehicles, no matter what event you choose, you'll see at least 1,000 of the very best to at least whet your appetite, or to potentially drain your bank account if you choose to find one that may be for sale. Well, how good is this? This is the car corral section at Carlisle Events, where the private entrants rock up and hopefully sell their rides. Let's go take a closer look. But be warned at home, as some scenes may depress you. Here at the GM Nationals, you'll get to experience what is known as Cackle Fest. It's your chance to sit in a drag car. We have a 484 cubic inch Hemi V8 here. What an experience. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Thanks, it's great to be here, Fletch.
Mate, I've got to wear the earplugs, put the earmuffs on. You guys just don't seem to. You must be just permanently deaf, are you?
What? Huh?
Hanging around these things, it's unbelievable. The vibration just goes right through you. It's hard to explain.
It's been a thrill for the last 40 years for me.
What sort of ET times are we looking at with this particular car, Bruce?
This is a 1979 version funny car, but it ran 220 miles an hour in the 6-second ET range in a quarter mile.
I mean, sitting back there and just holding the steering wheel, just while it's idling and giving it a rev, just imagining what it would be like. It's quite intimidating.
Yeah, it's like falling down a mine shaft when you leave the starting line. The cars now leave at about 5 Gs. This car probably left at 3.5 or 4 Gs. But the other thing is when you pull the parachutes at the end of the run, you get negative Gs. And it's about the same, 3, 4, 5 Gs negative. It tries to pull your eyeballs right out of the sockets.
It was described to me once, it'd be like sitting at the traffic lights and being hit up the rear at like 70 or 80 miles an hour from a standing start.
That's pretty accurate.
Sounds like a heap of fun.
We took the body off just so you could sit in here just like the NHRA boys do at the national events when we warm them up.
I'll tell you what, Bruce, it's a tight fit in here.
I'm glad you're here and we're having a good time.
All right. Well, I think that... Bruce, I said that it's a tight fit in here.
Oh, okay, a tight fit. I must be hard of hearing for some reason.
I think you... Excuse me.
If you want to drive it, you're just going to have to slide in there.
Bruce, thank you very much for bringing these cars along. Sensational highlight to the GM Nationals here for 2013. Thanks for being on Classic Restos, the Carlisle edition of episodes as well. Thanks, Bruce.
Nice talking to you, Fletch.
Here at the 2013 Carlisle All GM Nationals, you're never too sure what you're going to find. Now, although these Buicks don't host the traditional chrome bumper bars of yesteryear, they are, however, a very interesting ride. Here we have Tyler. He's a walking encyclopedia, this guy. He's also the events manager here for GM for 2013. How you doing, Tyler?
Oh, I'm just great, Fletch. Thanks for having me on the show.
That's okay. Now, look, you're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to these GNXs. What do they mean to you?
Well, the Buick GNX I've always found to be an amazing car because it's really a perfect example of a sleeper, because it's a Buick that can really, really go fast. So I've always found them amazing just for their unassuming nature overall.
The 3.8 litre V6 is also familiar to Australia and New Zealand as well. It's a good V6. You bung a hairdryer on them and they just go so well.
That's for sure. I think the 3.8s they put in these, they can take quite a beating and a lot of fun.
Now, Tyler, being a young guy, what do the classic cars mean to you? Because we're talking of a different realm here, obviously being in the 1980s.
Well, for me, one of the things I always appreciate is the history behind the cars, why they were created, who created them, who they were marketed towards, and then also just generally the styling. I think cars from over 20 years ago look better than a lot of the stuff that's made today.
Well, there's a whole array of Buicks here, GNXs here in Building Y. You walk in here, you expect to see maybe 1, 2 or 3, but no, being Carlisle, there's a whole row. It's just so typical, isn't it?
Absolutely. We always try to go over the top with anything we do.
Thanks, Tyler. And on that note, mate, congratulations. Fantastic job done for 2013 Carlisle All GM Nationals. Well done.
Thank you so much, Fletch.
Get up close and personal with this plastic wonder. As you know, nothing ran quick from factory back in the 1980s compared to the golden years of raw performance. Except if you own one of these, a 1987 GNX, and it's a Buick. Gotta say, this Buick took on a tough look, like the guy in high school wearing the black leather jacket with his hair slicked back leaning against a wall, someone you don't want to mess with. This Buick hosted the 3.8 litre V6 that we are familiar with in Australia and in New Zealand. There was 276 horsepower on tap, breathing through a McLaren tuned turbo, reaching 60 miles per hour from a standing start in just 4.7 seconds. So much for the grandpa image lounge room styled turnpike cruisers as we commonly knew by Buick. They made some tremendous performance cars back in the 1960s and early 70s. It's nice to see a little tradition carried through when other makes ducked out and hid in the side streets. I hope you're really enjoying today's episode of the 2013 Carlisle All GM Nationals. Thanks, of course, to Carlisle Events and my major sponsor, Shannons Insurance. Give them a call on 134646 for a quote or visit them at shannons.com.au. Back with more after this. Well, here we go. Time for Joe with a gorgeous 1969 SS Camaro. How are you, Joe?
I'm very good, Fletch. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You enjoying yourself?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Yeah.
How do you like the GM Nationals so far for 2013 here at Carlisle?
Good, very good. I come every year.
Do you? How many years you been coming?
Probably about the 7th.
Do you travel from far?
100 miles, Reading area. Yep.
You drive the Camaro?
Yes, I do. Yes, yep.
Isn't that good? Isn't that good to see a classic car not only being owned, but you got to drive them, haven't you, buddy?
Drive them, yes, you do got to drive them.
Now, tell us about this car. Look at the red. Isn't it the most beautiful red? It's a gorgeous colour. What is the name of that red?
Torch red is actually torch. It is a GM color. Okay, it was used on a lot of newer GMs. Yep.
Looks absolutely sensational sitting here in the paddock. Now, look, it's a knockout car, Joe. What's the story? How long have you had it?
I've had it since '99, and I restored the whole car myself and friends. Wow. And my brother-in-law painted it. Yeah. So.
When you got the car, how was it?
It was in pretty good shape. It was green when I got it, and it wasn't bad, so I had a pretty good car to work with.
So you kind of had a bit of a head start.
Yes, but it still took 5 years to do it. You know, it takes time, so, yeah.
And the investment of time, but in the end, look what you've ended up with. You've got this beautiful car. It must be great to drive.
Yes, I get a lot of compliments on it, and I go to a lot of shows. I go to shows every weekend with it.
Joe, I love the houndstooth interior. That's a real nice trim you got going in there.
Thank you. Yes, it gives it a different look. It really does, you know. It just, with the red, it you know, just gives it that look, you know.
There's something about a Camaro, especially one in this condition. They are really a stunning car, aren't they? Okay, what's lurking up under the hood? Tell us the deal there, Joe.
It's a 350 with some aluminum heads. It's basically stock. It has a small cam in it. I tried to keep everything pretty much stock.
The aluminum heads are good. I mean, you know, they're not from the 60s, but it doesn't matter. It's just a little bit of a tweak.
A little bit, just enough, just to give it a little bit of edge.
So I got them on my car at home, so it's okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, Joe, thanks for catching up. It's been great talking to you. Love your car. It's the first Camaro that's on the show here this weekend on Classic Restos. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Fletch. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thanks.
One nice thing about Carlisle events is that it's female friendly, not always about the guys. In fact, if you lose your wife or your partner, and if you care, you may find her in here. This is the Women's Oasis, a relaxing, non-automotive retreat. Personally, I couldn't think of anything worse, but the ladies love it. There's jewellery, handmade crafts, unique clothing, and even beauty products. You can brighten up your smile with Bleach Bright and even enjoy an absolute massage. Yes, the old home away from chrome. It might be nice, but personally, I still prefer 4 wheels and a seat. You know, it's very lovely here in the Women's Oasis, and with nearly 300 TV episodes up on the board, it's good to see that I'm surrounded by fans. Time for Melvin on today's show now. Hello, Melvin.
Good. How are you, Fletch?
I'm great. Yourself?
Fine. Yeah. Old man, but I'm fine.
You're old. How old are you?
75.
75. Get out of here.
Yeah, 75 in February. Born in 38.
You gotta love it. Don't you love it, eh? These guys out with their cars. Speaking of which, a 1965 GTO. What is it about these cars? There's just something about it. The lines, their shape, they are just amazing, aren't they?
They're like a good-looking woman. They're beautiful.
You just can't get enough of it.
Can't get enough. No, my car, I've had it for 8 years. I enjoy the car. I probably go to 3 car shows a week, and that's what old men do. And I run into the same people there.
Melvin, you've got to stop calling yourself old, because, I mean, while you're running around in a 65 GTO, you've got a 400 up front, you're like a 19-year-old. Look at you. I mean, not only that, this is a convertible car as well, right?
I've had it 8 years. I did a lot of work to it. It's pretty much done.
Gorgeous colour.
Gorgeous color. I just put new exhaust system on, which is extremely loud and extremely good. And I love that part. Yeah, my wife asked me once in a while, she said, "Aren't you ever going to grow up?" Yeah. And I said, "I don't think so."
Well, you know, growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional.
Yes, I want to use that. I'm going to tell her that from now on.
Let's have a look at the interior. The interior is beautiful as well. I mean, dark colour on the outside, light on the inside, nice transition, class, lots of style.
It's a lot of style. It's, the inside is what it should have been like originally. It's a cream color.
A couple of little different things. You've changed the steering wheel. That's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different. That came with that steering wheel. I seem to like it. I keep looking at buying a wooden one that goes in there, but it's a larger one. And I like that little steering wheel.
It's a funny thing. You can go 2 ways. I like the bigger wheels. They're thin. They were often criticised. Couldn't get enough grip on them back in their day, but I like the big, thin wheel. But the way you've gone there, you've got some good grip. I'm going to totally change the subject here. I'm going to look out back. Diecast taillights. Now, where have the days gone? Diecast taillights. You know, a car would cost $1 million to now come with diecast taillights.
Yes, it would be. It's very, very expensive. Those tires that I have and wheels that I have on there are a friend of mine that repairs cars, Ken Snyder. He came up one day and did some work on my car, and I wanted to get it. And he said, "Come on up." He said, "Car's done." And I went up there, and he's on it. I said, "What'd you do that for?" He said, "It looks a lot better with that one, doesn't it?" I said, "Well, where's my old ones at?" "I put them in that Firebird." I said, "So what's the cost here?" Well, it cost $1,000. I said, take them home. Social Security check didn't come in yet. And he said, you don't need a Social Security check. Anyhow, I left them on there. I got a good price out of him. And he said, this will make it an A1 car instead of an A car. He said, you get more trophies, which here you got a $45,000 car and you get an $8 trophy. Yeah.
Go and have one made yourself and engrave your own name on it. All right, lovely talking to you, Melvin.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time and good luck with the ladies.
Oh, yeah. No, to my wife. My wife had to work today, so yes.
Probably a good thing.
That's a good thing. Oh, yeah, it is.
Thanks, well, you're a good guy. Keep the dream alive and the tradition going. I love the GTA. Beautiful car.
It is a good car. It's a neat car to drive. It's noisy. It's fast. Yeah. And it looks good.
I reckon when you were a kid, you would have been a bugger.
Oh, a bugger would have been it. I'm telling you right now, if I was a kid and had this, it wouldn't be safe. The girls wouldn't be safe. That's all there is to it.
75 years of age. Get out of here. Yeah. See you later, mate. The college town of Carlisle, Pennsylvania is an absolutely beautiful tourist destination. If you would like to see some of this amazing area of the United States in conjunction with one of your favourite car shows, you may be looking at joining a Fletch tour. We're taking expressions of interest now for 2014. Send me an email via classicrestos.com.au. If you enjoy your favourite TV show Classic Restos, the DVD boxed sets along with other Classic Restos merchandise is available at classicrestos.com.au. And while you're there, check out the major sponsors as well. Hope you're enjoying the 2013 Carlisle All GM Nationals. Back with more in just a moment. Moving through the 2013 Carlisle All GM Nationals, it's just getting better and better. Absolutely stunning stuff. This. How are you, Paul?
I'm fine. How about yourself, Fletch?
I'm great. I'm just lost for words when I see a car like this. A 1960 two-door original Bonneville.
Original Bonneville, yes. Original paint, original chrome. The roof is different. But the paint is all original. The chrome is all original. Interior is all original. And I put the original bias tires back on it. So
tell us, Paul, where did you find a car like this?
I found this car in Greensburg, about a 15-mile drive from my house. The guy was a tinner. He bought the car from his brother when he went to Korea, and he sold it to him for $700. Car cost $4137, and he sold it to his brother for $700.
Keep in mind, $4,100 back in 1960. That was an incredible amount of money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it was. I couldn't afford it, and I wanted to buy one. Couldn't afford it then. Never thought I'd pay $15,000 for it and have to fix it up. Mechanical parts, anyway.
Paul, you got yourself a bargain. I mean, in fact, I think you stole it at that price.
Like that, yeah, just a little bit.
Do you know about the original owner? Like, what did he do for a job?
Well, Carmen was a tinner. I don't know what Joe was. They were brothers. And Joe had the car first. And I don't know what he did, but I know his brother, when he got it, he was a tinner. So he drove the car. He was a little Italian fella, and he had cushion underneath him and two behind. Of course, he tore up the flywheel and the pressure plate. All that stuff had to be replaced. So he just parked it in 74. What was in 72, they had it inspected in 74.
The Bonneville is such a strong brand too. It's a strong model. I mean, it's a great sounding name, a Bonneville, isn't it? There's something about
1960. It was a great seller.
Engine up front. What size is it, Paul?
It's a 389. It's right now. We had to rebuild it, so the guy said he built it out, rebored it to a 400 block. So it's a little bigger, but it's a 389 block.
That's awesome. Where do we go next? We look at the interior. What an incredible interior. The dashboards on these Bonnevilles, they're on their own. That's what I love about every make and model from the 50s and 60s. They all had their own signature styling, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They had their own style. This one was plastered with wax, from waxing it, and I had to get ear things, what do you call them, cotton swabs, and wax and clean them. Spent about 4 hours on the dash.
even the leather and the vinyl combination, the seating,
that was all clean too, Fletch.
It's original from 1960.
Yes, it is. It's original, yes.
I mean, I wouldn't mind $10 for every time there's a butt that's been sitting on there.
yeah, of course.
Now, let's have a look out back across the top of the rear quarters now. The Laurentians, the Bonnevilles, the shape. Oh, that tunnel styling across the top of the rear quarters, that is amazing.
Yes, I worked for a company for 40 years. As a matter of fact, in 1960, I helped them make panels for this car. Now, the reason why they're all bent like that was to keep the buckles out of the car on the long car. So when they put a bend in it, kept the buckles out and made it look like a sharper car, which was a good idea.
Gave it some strength.
Gave it strength, yeah, it was a good idea.
Oh, it's an awesome car. Paul, I could talk to you all day. Thank you so much for being on today's show. I love it.
I love it too. We're enjoying.
That's the trouble. You fall in love with everything you find here. It's just incredible stuff. The amount of cars that GM made, they really did some incredible stuff, didn't they?
Sure did. They sure did. They never made them to last long in those days, but today they do.
Tell you what, I reckon they're doing a pretty good job. These cars are what?
They're doing a wonderful job now, yes.
40 and 50 years old, aren't they?
Yes, they are, yes.
Okay, Paul, well, nice talking to you, and I like your hat too.
Thank you. I do that to keep the sun off me. I'm not really a cowboy.
Look after yourself, Paul.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Fletch.
Moving through, here we are in the Oldsmobile row now. We have Willard. How are you, Willard?
Very good, Fletch.
That's the way. Look at this. Another stunning car. We're back in the Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe era here. 1955 Oldsmobile.
Yes, it is, Fletch.
Willard, what's the story with it?
I bought that car about 11 years ago. A fellow of mine, friend of mine, had redoing it and turned around and I finished it off. Whole interior needed done. The car had already been painted and all new chrome put on it. It only had like 24,000 miles on it when I got it. So it's in pretty good shape.
You've got yourself a gold mine here, haven't you?
A little bit.
What's it like to drive?
It drives very good. You don't feel the tar strips. Yeah.
It makes you realise, like, if a car can drive like that in 2013, how it must have been back in its day in 1955.
It was like driving a Cadillac.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I've got my opinions on that, and I reckon if you were blindfolded, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
No, you wouldn't. You couldn't tell at all. No.
The interior is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, we're looking 1955 period correct interior here in outstanding condition. I think these top-level cars, I don't think they had the ratio of families that used to go through them. I think they had less opportunity to get damaged. I mean, they weren't the sort of car that a salesman would have driven. They weren't getting used every single day of the week in stop and start traffic. I think that's why there's so many top-end cars still around.
Basically, yes. And this one had been owned by an old lady who lived in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. And she never put any miles on it at all. When she passed away, her son didn't want it. So he sold it. Wow. Yeah.
And that's often the case. That's often the case. Well, Willard, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. This is really a knockout car here in the Oldsmobile line. They're all beautiful cars, but this one made the grade for the TV show, my friend.
Okay, thank you, Fletch.
Thank you, sir.
Sure thing.
Talk about a car ahead of its time. Looks great in 2013, let alone how it would have looked back in the day in 55. Up under the hood, a 324 cubic inch V8 boasting 200 horsepower, and you just have to love the Continental kit out back. After walking around Carlisle events all day looking at the sensational GM vehicles, what a way to round off the day, to head out here to the Quarter Aces Dragaway. There's no set classes here. It's a pretty laid-back affair. It's where the local guys run what they brung. Well, I hope you've enjoyed just some of the 2013 Carlisle All GM Nationals on this week's episode of Classic Restos. Don't worry, there's more coming up on next week's show. Till then, I'm Fletch. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like Classic Restos on Facebook.
facebook.com/Classic Restos TV. And episodes can be seen at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.